Hello everybody, it's Mrs. Pound and we are studying chapter 5.2 on the respiratory and excretory systems from Purposeful Designs Life Science. Today we're going to talk about section 5.2.3 on the skin, and this is the last section in this chapter, so you should start studying for your test. Our objectives today will be to name and describe the layers of skin and summarize how acne develops. So first of all, let's talk about the roles of the skin. What is the purpose of our skin? First of all, is to protect internal tissues, a lot like these gloves. You wear gloves to protect your hands, and our skin is a protective layer around us. It prevents bacteria and viruses from getting in as well. It produces vitamin D when we're out in the sun. It is good for us to get out into the sun for a little bit every day so that we can produce vitamin D. It senses pain and touch. With this pin, you can touch the pin, you can feel the pin. Also, you would feel it if it pricked you by accident. And it works with the circulatory system to regulate body temperature by getting rid of excess heat. When you sweat, the sweat evaporates from your body, and that requires heat to do that, and so it has a cooling effect on your body. Skin structure. This can be found in your book on page 259. So the epidermis is the thin outer layer of skin. And this is a diagram similar to the one in your book on page 259, but just a little bit different. And so you can see here the epidermis is that very outer layer. There's also melanin in your skin. This is the pigment that determines skin and hair color. And it is produced by the epidermis. So these moles here, they have just more melanin in them than the rest of the skin around them. And also the hair here is brown because it contains melanin. Now the dermis is the thick layer of living skin below the epidermis. So here in this diagram, this is the dermis right here, the dermal layer. And this is the layer of skin that contains the blood vessels, nerves, hair follicles, sweat glands, and sebaceous glands. So here we can see all those things. We can see a hair follicle with a hair shaft growing out of it. We can see a sweat gland. We can see arteries and veins. We can see an oil gland, which is the sebaceous gland. That's just another name for the sebaceous gland. We also see nerves and lymph vessels and all kinds of things. This is a very important layer of skin that is living. A sebaceous gland is a gland in the dermis that produces sebum. Sebum, and that's right here, just inside the hair shaft. It leads into the hair shaft here in the hair follicle. This produces an oily mixture that is secreted to prevent hair and skin from being dry. Now, as a teen and preteen, perhaps you've noticed your hair and skin are a little oilier than it used to be. That's because when you start to go through puberty, the sebaceous glands start secreting more oils. The sweat glands are a gland in the dermis that produces sweat. So right here is the sweat gland, and again, that sweat is produced to cool off your body through evaporation. Also, there are electrolytes and some ammonia and urea also excreted through the sweat gland. So that's why it's part of the excretory system, because it also does secrete some waste. Now, acne. This is a very important thing to talk about because maybe some of you are experiencing acne. Acne develops when extra sebum, that oily mixture, mixes with dead skin cells and clogs the skin's pores. So you can see these pimples, they are clogged skin pores. Bacteria can grow in this mixture. So acne is actually a bacterial infection, and when you're being treated for acne, sometimes you will take antibiotics if you have very severe acne. The buildup of secretions leads to inflammation in the form of pimples. So you can see these pimples on this individual's face. And those pimples might contain pus. This is a collection of white blood cells and cell debris at an infection site. So right there you can see that there's probably some pus in there. Acne is not caused by poor hygiene habits. It is caused by hormones, excess sebum secretion, dead skin cells, and bacteria. Like I said, it is a bacterial infection. So our objectives today were to name and describe the layers of skin and summarize how acne develops. Don't forget your 5 questions in your notes and keep watching this video to answer the questions at the end.